Lascaux Artist Acrylic colors are of the highest quality with unsurpassed working properties for all acrylic paintings, where absolute purity and depth of color are essential. The artist color have maximum pigmentation. The pigments and binders that Lascaux use are always light fast, age-resistant and non-yellowing. They adhere to practically any oil-free surface, ranging from flexible supports like canvas, linen paper to rigid supports like panels, but also stone, concrete and wood. They're highly concentrated and economical. Every bottle has its own recipe, and in my opinion, the artist colors do feel like oil colors. They have a great consistency, smooth and thick, depending on the pigment. The opacity ranges from transparent to opaque. They are smooth, buttery and soft. Great for precision application with brush and palette knife. They have very good film flexibility. If you work on canvas, you can easily roll the canvas without the paint breaking. There is a minimal color difference between wet and dry. If you like a shiny finish, you can varnish the painting with Lascaux Transparent Varnish 1, or use number 2 for matte finish, or 3 for semi-matte, like a silk varnish. After its first pioneer artist acrylic line, Studio Acrylic was the second color line that Lascaux developed in the early 1960s. It was created for large-scale works, indoor as well as outdoor murals in public spaces. These applications demanded artist paint with special qualities and working properties to handle such large formats successfully. The studio colors are available in different sizes jars and have a range of more than 50 colors, including beautiful mixed colors such as Maple Rose and Prussian Blue, one of my favorites. I have a nice anecdote to demonstrate the economical use and high coverage of the paint. Years ago, an artist duo ordered black studio paint in order to paint a huge pirate flag. Lascaux got an order for many buckets, around 15 I think. They planned time schedule to finish the artwork, and it was 5 days, but in the end the artists only needed 1 bucket or 2, really minimal. This duo only needed 1 day. They are optimally weather resistant and water resistant when dry. Contrary to pasty artist paint, Studio is semi-fluid. I call it a flat paint with a viscous, smooth and soft consistency and a uniform semi-matte finish. You cannot see brush strokes, which is unique, so it's perfect for abstract painters or painters who work in a graphic way. The uniform covering power is ideal for effortless creation of monochrome surfaces. The unique thing of this point that you can add on top of the studio colors is the real fine point. I'll make a huge doodle, and of course with some water I can also play around. Here I have the studio. You can really work in a more watercolor way. This is more just freestyle, just to show you how the coverage is. So this is without mixing with water. You just need a little bit. So let me show you the difference between artist colors and the studio colors. And as you see, I'll hold it up now because then you really can see it doesn't go down. When you put it on the canvas, it stays exactly how you put on it. In contrary, the studio, so as you see, this one is more fluid, semi-fluid. The brush strokes are hardly visible, actually not when dry. With the artist, the way you put it on the canvas is exactly the way it stays. I'll make a little demo using one side the artist paint, which is very opaque, and the other side I will use the studio. Let's just make some skies. I grew up using oil paint, and while I would go with a whole bucket full of oil paint into nature, looking at animals in the woods with a white spirit. In those days, I really did not realize that there would be an acrylic with such an equal brilliancy, but also consistency. It dries a little slower than any other acrylic. If you still want to have the smooth feeling of this oily medium that was added to the oil paint, instead of water, you add a little bit of medium and directly you feel the paint becomes a little smoother. The 1 is shiny, 2 is matte, and 3 is semi-matte. It's a family of colors. So if I hold an artist, I won't be afraid if I have to mix it with a studio. I know it would work well together. Behind the philosophy of Lascaux, there's this holistic thought. Always, for them, it's been really important to relate to nature, to be good to the earth, to find colors that connect to, more the natural way, even though you're working with acrylics. As you see while I'm mixing here, I try to make these beautiful grays for the clouds, because clouds have so many beautiful colors. Now I will make this side with the more flat and fluid studio. As you can see, I really don't need so much. I start with little because the colors, they're all highly pigmented. Often in workshops, I see people squeeze the jars with lots of paint, and my heart breaks because, of course, they cost a little bit more, but you really need just a little. And you see how fluid it is. It's really flat. I'm not creating high art here. If I want it a bit thicker, then I steal a bit of the artist as well, a bit yellow. I can easily go on top of it without showing what is under. If you actually don't want this, if you want to work more as a glaze, in a glazing way, layer on layer, you just add, I put some medium in here. Already on the palette you can see, then you get this transparent layer. When adding medium, it slows the drying time as well. So I am really an outdoor painter. When the sun is shining, it's really good to have an extra medium to slow it down. Compared with other acrylics, the Lascaux dries a little slower. That also has to do with a special treatment while in the production of the paint. And then I'll go back to the artist again. I just show you here, because here we have the white gesso. What is really, really new, and I think is fantastic, is that they developed this black gesso and a transparent gesso. So both, as the white gesso, are absorbent, but new is the black gesso, and it has the same beautiful, direct, smooth coverage. Often what you see is the black, they become like a dead color. As I said, Lascaux always try to relate to nature, where things are alive. And I think that's the high philosophy, but also the high quality of the paint, that they actually realize paint that connect to real life. If you have a beautiful, for example, linen surface, it's beautiful to show the quality of this, and you want it less absorbent for the paint to hold, you use the transparent gesso. And now I'll just show you the more in an abstract way how beautiful this could work. This is studio, but also I can easily dilute it and make it more in a, you see, it's so high pigmented that I really need a lot of water in which you can really get a more watercolor look.